Joseph Parker is whoring himself out to the highest bidder in an attempt to try and reignite his failing boxing career. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Remstar Says So. So it sounds like Eddie the Hearn Germ is trying to line up a fight for Joseph Parker to face Derek Chisora at a headlined fight at the O2, as long as Derek Chisora comes through his next fight with Senad Gashi. We've seen a lot going on over the last couple of months between Parker and his promoter David Higgins, trying to get Parker fights to fight the likes of Junior Farr in New Zealand. There's been talks about Lucas Brown and other sort of Oceania type fighters. The issue is that it just looks like Joseph Parker is no longer a big deal in New Zealand. Once upon a time, the whole country was behind him, but 2018 was a terrible year for Parker. First, he lost his belt to Anthony Joshua, and then he lost to Dillian Whyte unanimously while fighting him at the O2 Arena. Joseph Parker looked terrible against Dillian Whyte. He lost his mantra of never going down, even against AJ, with Dillian Whyte putting him down twice, and Joseph Parker only really came to light and looked like he came to fight in that 12th round where he put Dillian Whyte down, and then Dillian Whyte sort of held on for dear life. Joseph Parker's stock has dropped to an all-time low, and he's really trying to rebuild himself if he can at all. After his back-to-back losses in 2018, he did finish the year with a third round stoppage over Alexander Flores, but that was like a bit of a knockover fight, as David Higgins has already sort of agreed to that. Everybody knew that Joseph Parker was going to win that fight before it happened. Alexander Flores, he's got a terrible record. He's fought absolute nobodies. He even lost to Charles Martin back in 2014, but this was before Charles Martin became a world champion. While I guess people still thought that he was a good prospect, so on and so forth, I don't really know. If I saw Joseph Parker fighting Derek Chisora, I would actually favour Derek Chisora to win that fight if David Hay is still managing him and sort of guiding his progression in terms of nutrition, bodybuilding, all of that. One thing that I can say about Derek Chisora is that he looked at his absolute physical best in the Dillian Whyte fight, and I feel like he got robbed by the referee, and that's why he started lunging in. If you remember watching that Derek Chisora fight, the referee deducted 2 pointless points off of him, and I believe he thought that he was losing the fight, so he went all out. Judging from Joseph Parker, I actually think that this could be a good fight. I think we could get a nice little slugfest here. I couldn't see anybody sort of sticking behind the jab, and this could be a good tear up. But I do think that Derek Chisora against Parker, it'd be a great fight. I don't think even Eddie Hearn would want to try and stick this on pay-per-view because it would do terrible numbers. But I think a lot of people would tune in if this was a Saturday night sort of card. Adam Smith, or whatever his name is, the head of Sky Sports, has been calling out for Matchroom to deliver a big fight like this, and I think this would be the perfect sort of Saturday night card to get back into Adam Smith's good books for Eddie Hearn, if he chooses to do this. Obviously, Derek Chisora needs to come through his challenge with Senad Gashi, and I don't think Joseph Parker will have any more knockover fights. But maybe he could be on the undercard. I think Derek Chisora is going to be on that undercard of Lucas Brown versus Dave Allen. And maybe Joseph Parker might take one more knockover fight just to get a bit of cobwebs out. If you think about it, we are in April now and he hasn't fought since December. So maybe he might want to have a couple of rounds under his belt before going to war with Derek Chisora. And that's one thing you can say about Derek Chisora. Win, lose or draw, he's always up for the fight. And I think Joseph Parker needs to understand this. Against Anthony Joshua, Joshua was a little bit sort of timid in that fight. He wasn't really throwing many haymakers, and he didn't manage to put Parker down. Against Dillian White, White did put him down twice, but it's not like there was any brutal damage. Derek Chisora is the kind of guy who just thinks fuck it and he wants to take your head off, and he's going to try and battle as hard as he can to try and win that fight. And if he takes a loss, so be it. Derek Chisora's got the heart of a lion, and I don't think Joseph Parker's ever fought a guy quite like that. I would favour Chisora to win, but Joseph Parker has fought at the highest level. He has defended his world title before to Hughie Fury and Razvan Kajanu, and he's also been in there with AJ and White. So who knows? But yeah, this is a fight I definitely want to see, especially if it's not going to be on pay-per-view. I don't think that Derek Chisora is a big draw in the UK in terms of running a pay-per-view, but he's been in there with some hard fights, and maybe he deserves it. I think Derek Chisora, he might be looking to have a rematch with Ajit Kabayal if he's still got that European title by then. And I think Derek Chisora is quite comfortable within himself. He is a prize fighter, and I think he knows his ability. And I think Derek Chisora knows that he'll never be a world champion, but he's sort of ready to sort of mix it in there. If Derek Chisora did come through Joseph Parker and won that fight, you could see maybe Chisora fighting the likes of a Pulev or a Povetkin in a big money fight. But I don't know. There's a lot that needs to happen before we get to these levels. I definitely want to see this fight. I would fancy Chisora to win if Hay is still guiding his career at the time. Let me know your thoughts. Do you want to watch this fight? If it was on pay-per-view, would you pay for it? Anyway, guys, that's the end of the show. Hit like, hit subscribe, because Remstar says so. Thanks very much, and enjoy the rest of your weekend.